welcome back to another episode of 1980s Now, a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture. And get this, its continued influence today. That's right. Hey, everybody, my name's Will. And joining me, as always, are my friends, and they're also my co-hosts. It's Kat and John. Hey, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello, once again.
Come on, audience.
We're getting applause. We're getting applause? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Wow, that's rousing.
Yeah.
That's more than ever before.
And hello to everyone out there watching us on Facebook and YouTube live today. It's good to have you with us. All right, hey, let's not fool around here, right? We got a lot of news to cover related to 1980s media. If we don't get through it all by the designated time, we just get cut off. So some stories may be left hanging.
That's how the network is.
It is. We're not going to stop for commercials, so someone's going to be pounding on the door. You got to break. Not going to break.
Someone will eventually pound on my door, I'm sure.
Because you barricade yourself in your studio there.
Mm-hmm.
Where the refrigerator is. Where the toilet
You
is.
can go upstairs and bang on the pipes, and you can just hear it through the pipes.
Hey, and
It's
when
like a
you
little
do
Blue Man group going on over there.
Yeah, stop. Yeah.
Hey, when you do decide to take a break, though, because ultimately you will, check out John, our very own John down there on the video. If you're watching it on video, on his own podcast and YouTube network, Gen X Grown Up.
Thank you.
What is Karen saying? If there are any Cracker Barrel fans here, their new fried apple French toast is delicious. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's a great tip, Karen. I'm definitely going to check that out. Also,
Well, if we're talking desserts, it's important to know that Sonny's Barbecue has, ready for this? Peach cobbler egg rolls.
Oh, well, okay, wait a second. Is it like a McDonald's apple pie? That kind of crunchy texture on the outside, some kind of fried dough of some sort?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just like any other egg roll you'd have, cut in half, served with a little bowl of whipped cream sprinkled with cinnamon.
I want that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll ship you some.
I'll make French toast with that, And Karen also says also their holiday, what does it say? Ornament section has tons of fun offerings. And I thought of John because I saw an Atari.
Oh, well, who doesn't think of John when they see an Atari?
All right, I got to go. Bye, everybody.
Right now?
Cracker Barrel.
Right now?
Finish the show here.
Okay, right after the show. Then
On
Cracker
today's show, we're going to be reviewing current Nori. Fucking goddamn it! Let me take
Nori.
I can't wait.
Nori, that's Japanese, not like egg roll Chinese. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Where were we? All right. On today's show, we'll review current news stories related to 1980s media, including Salem's Lot has a trailer. Now, remember, we didn't know we were going to see Salem's Lot at all, but now we've got a trailer, and it's coming out. There's a throwback horror film that I just learned about that came out earlier this year. It's now streaming, and it's a throwback to the 80s horror films very specifically, but it's got a twist, and I'm going to share that with you. And you know what? Part of it is because, look, fall, it's starting to get a little fallish, and it's fallish enough where I start thinking about Halloween. And I don't know if it's just me, but and look, we probably have All Hallows Eve going back to whatever that pagan tradition was, because as the seasons changed and the days were shorter, things seemed a little spookier.
Yes.
And for us, for now, right? It still happens, and we look for ways to maybe celebrate that or enjoy it. I do.
Or avoid it.
Oh,
You avoid Halloween, Cat?
No, I enjoy Halloween itself, but this particular aspect of Halloween, the horror movie thing,
that part.
not my thing. Yeah,
I go looking for 'em.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
All year long, I'll be like, if something really interesting came out, I'll check it out. But Halloween, I'm like, all right, what have I missed?
That's when you go to Google best horror movies of 2000 and whatever this year is.
Right. Yes.
Yep. And I go digging them up. Like, what did I miss? Yep.
So I watched this movie, and I want to tell you guys about it. All right. So Heather Locklear's, we're going to talk about Heather Locklear's 1982 date with Tom Cruise. We just found out about that some 40 odd years later. The original, speaking of Tom Cruise, we're going to talk about the original ending to Risky Business. Also, speaking of Tom Cruise, the stunt that nearly killed him.
Oh.
No,
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No. Look, I don't agree with his everything else about him, but I love his movies.
Yes.
I'm a weird guy.
Yep.
And finally, and this is the most exciting news, guys. I don't know if you're as into this as I am, but I've got my tickets, and I'm very excited to see Jane's Addiction on tour. They have reunited.
Hey, Will.
Yeah.
The tour, it just got canceled.
Oh. Okay. Well,
Are you just now hearing about this? That's bad news for you.
all right. Well, look, we're going to pivot then. We'll pivot, and we'll talk about that. All right.
Okay.
'Cause that was short. That was a short-lived reunion tour. So we'll talk about that. And I've got 3 other bands from the 1980s that also had short-lived reunions. We can talk about those too, just as a coincidence. And hey, there's time codes in the notes if you want to skip around or skip right to Gen X Grown Up. I don't care. Whatever. Do whatever you want. All right. Hey, let's get caught up on 1980s news. Hey, Chad. Hey, Darth. Hey, Karen. I said hello to Karen already. Brandon's here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, this week in 1980s news. Look, and I'm really excited about this. We just mentioned when the season changes, I'm looking for horror stuff and other types of spooky things. And so I'm very excited to let you guys know that Salem's Lot will finally premiere. Now, I had to look it up because I know we spoke about this before. It turns out in February of this year, we discussed how the latest adaptation of Stephen King's 1975 horror novel, which was in the can as of 2021, in February, we speculated that it may never see the light of day. There was no indication that it was ever going to come out because it was a theatrical release that was planned for September of 2022.
Okay.
And then Warner Brothers pushed it to the spring of 2023, and they were talking about just going streaming. And then they took it off of their official schedule altogether without any clarification. And at this time, we chatted about how Stephen King himself took to social media to call out the studio for having no apparent plans to release the movie. And he said, quote, "Between you and me, Twitter, I've seen the new Salem's Lot, and it's quite good. Not sure why WB is holding back. Not like it's embarrassing or anything. Who knows? I just write the fucking things."
I remember us talking about that. And before you told us all that,
Yeah.
I was about to ask, is this a Warner Brothers production?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That added to our
It's a
nervousness
standard
about it.
operation.
Yeah.
yep.
Or uncertainty about it. Well, the long-awaited film will finally be available on Max, so it is going straight to streaming. But we'll be able to see it in time, or those who have a subscription, of course, in time for Halloween. And Warner Brothers has released a trailer for it, and I'm going to share it with you right now for
Boy.
folks watching.
And before the show, Kat said, "Do we have to watch this trailer?
Yeah.
Are you going to make
don't
us
get-
watch it?"
So, yeah, when I tried to watch it earlier, and I was in a setting where I couldn't see it very well because it was so dark, and I just
It was
couldn't
dark.
make it out. And then I was like, darn it, I'm going to have to try to watch it in better lighting
Okay.
because
So
I
then
could
here you go.
hear that it was, unpleasant.
It's just
Unpleasant things
people
were happening.
screaming. Okay. Well, here you go. Lucky you then. So you do want, then you should want to see it and do want to see it. All right. Well, here it is.
Okay.
I've always written stories about things that are so terrible. You'll run away until your brain won't remember.
So why did you come back?
I'm here for research.
What exactly, though, are you researching?
I can see her lying back in her satin dress.
Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary in the lot recently?
Don't confess. Sundown, you're back.
There are some folks who've had some kind of unusual experiences.
That looks so worried.
They used to tell us stories about this place. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into, dear.
Annie, where are you?
Oh, I love that.
Answer me.
This is not a disease you can catch.
Better take care.
I'm eating
force eventually.
Things have gone bad in the lot now.
You never look away.
Sundown, you better take care. If I find you've been creeping round my back stairs.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, Kat, so
Nope.
you survived it. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, I survived
No, not
the
interested.
trailer. No.
I'm
It
very
looks well
excited
put
about it.
together.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks well put together, and yet I feel like this trailer requires you to know what Salem's Lot is before you come in. Because if you don't know anything about the book or the previous film, it doesn't really tell you what's going on. There's
Will you
creepy
please
stuff
tell me?
happening.
Yeah, but isn't that okay? I mean, isn't it? I
I'm
think
not
the
upset with
tone
that
and-
necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It shows you it's creepy, scary stuff. Are people really dead? So you start wondering, oh, well, is it zombies? Is it vampires? What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you have to know that coming in, or this is going to make you go, what's it about exactly? Just spooky.
Can you tell me? I did not read it. I don't know about it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotta watch it, Kat.
You gotta see
Ah.
it. All right, I'll tell you what it's about. Okay, so look, it's set in the 1970s. And by the way, I guess before we talk about the plot, I guess, or this, I don't know that I agree with the music choice on this. So this is Gordon Light's Sundown from 1974, I think, or 72, something like that. And the show was set, I think, in around 1975, which is when the book came out.
Okay.
You can tell it's set in the 1970s. But I don't know that I agree with the song. They chose it because the lyrics are sundown. You better take care. I mean, okay, what? I mean, it reminds me how. But look, the other visuals of the trailer are so powerful and strong, I think, and the filmmaking looks so good that it's not as consequential to me, and the song is not throughout it. But there's this trend of taking up a popular song and changing it a little bit to make it seem spooky or interesting and it's not. You can't just slap any song on there. This one's not too bad. But I was just thinking, like, if you guys saw the Minecraft trailer for Minecraft,
Oh, I did.
did,
see
yeah.
it. Wait, what did they use? I can't remember.
there's a lot of issues with it. That trailer.
Oh no, well, I saw it with
The
you
music
guys.
didn't
actually.
register as in the top 10 problems I saw.
But I think the music is a big one. They use the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, any child interested in Minecraft doesn't know what the hell that song is. They have no emotional connection to it.
Yeah.
And they probably chose it because this idea you're going on some kind of adventure. There's got to be a million songs better than that, and certainly ones that the demographic. And again, you watch that Minecraft trailer. I'm not sure who that movie's for.
Yeah.
I don't think they know. They started out probably one way, and then by the end they're like, "What did we make? I don't know, but we can't go back. Just put it out."
It's like an emoji movie look. I'm like, was there a committee that oversaw this at any point and went, well, these aren't lining up. These, like, you're right. Yeah. As I watched it, I'm like, well, I don't think kids are going to like it because it's too modern-y looking. I don't think adults are going to like it because it's too kiddie looking. Yeah.
That's any good.
I do think it's trying to appeal to the adults that will be taking the children or watching it with the children.
The ones who have to pay for the ticket.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be Beatles in it.
Karen likes the song. She says it's always sounded kind of creepy. Good use of it here. Again, I get it. It's definitely more effective than the Minecraft thing. I was just lamenting.
Yeah, I agree with Karen. I think it is appropriate for this trailer, and I like how they did it. And in fact, when it got muted, like it was like muffled under a pillow for a moment, I thought that was really cool.
That
could have done with
creeped
any
me
song,
out.
but I like that.
Yeah, that when it changed, that actually creeped me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like when they do that. Yeah. Brandon says looks a lot more entertaining than the original Salem's Lot. The original didn't do much for me. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I agree. Yeah. And Glenn says, I know nothing of the past stuff, have no idea what was going on there besides spooky. Okay, so here's what's going on. So it's set in 1970s, as I mentioned, and it's the latest trip to the lot that follows author Ben Mears, who's haunted by an incident from his childhood. He returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover the town is being preyed upon by a bloodthirsty vampire and his loyal servant. The cast includes a number of actors, most of whom I don't know. But I did recognize these names. Lewis Pullman, who's Bill Pullman's son, who we saw in the trailer there. He seems to be playing the author. Alfred Woodard and William Sadler. I don't think we saw Sadler, but maybe
I didn't
he's
see
the
him in there.
Maybe he's the vampire, right? He'd be a good
Oh,
vampire.
maybe so.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's unmistakable. You'd have picked him out of the trailer. Yeah.
Put some makeup on it. Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Oh, I hope he is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was written and directed by Gary Dauberman, who also wrote and directed Annabelle Comes Home, which was his feature debut.
And I want to point out, it says from the Conjuring universe. He's not responsible for the good films in the Conjuring universe, but the Annabelle film in the Conjuring universe. Because the trailer calls out, from the maker of films in the Conjuring universe. Well, yeah. And realistically, Annabelle Comes Home may be the best of the Annabelle films, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, I could never get through an Annabelle film. I tried watching the first one. I was like, whatever. I feel like I've seen this already. And I just stopped watching it.
That was very different and good. If you want to watch one, that's the one to watch. But if you have time to watch it, watch one of the Conjuring films. Much better.
Oh, yeah. I've seen all of those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm excited to check it out. And the good news is it will premiere on Max, as I mentioned, on October 3rd. So real soon.
Yes.
All right. Speaking of horror films, and again, I am... Did I get a free ball on pinball? What was that?
Ding, 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 ding. Somebody's banging the pipes.
Someone's bringing cats pipes.
I was trying not to draw attention.
Too late.
Yeah. Your gestures and looks, Cat. It's like that thing with kids. Like if I don't look at you in the eyes, I vanish.
Right. So Katnia want to draw attention to a little background noise. So instead, you see her waving off camera with this look that could kill. Like,
Yes, it was
like
meant
I will
to.
terminate you with my the laser eyes. It was great.
Yeah, they didn't draw our attention at all.
Did it work? No, we didn't notice.
So, okay. That's next up in 1980s news, and speaking of horror movies, again, I'm so excited about this season of horror films. As reported by Screen Rant, In a Violent Nature, which is the name of the movie, has a direct connection to Friday the 13th.
Good movie.
I'm going to pause again here.
I'll take a drink too.
I am
I need
parched
one.
today.
Mm.
Well, I take all this allergy medicine because it's the season, and it just completely, now I need to drink water like all the time, constantly.
Dries you out.
I
Yep.
need a camel bag. Camel pack. All right. So In a Violent Nature is a slasher film written and directed by Chris Nash and starring, again, look, I don't know who these people are, but I do know at least these are two of the names they gave us. Rye Barrett and Andrea Pavlovic. And there's a cast of other actors. It's described as an ambient slasher. And it borrows heavily from the tropes created by the Friday the 13th franchise, including the very first one that came out in 1980. Much like Jason Voorhees, the killer in Violent Nature has a tragic origin story, stalks teenagers in the woods, hides his disfigured face under a mask, and is a real mama's boy. And I'm going to try not to give any spoilers.
Yeah.
Ambient
Now,
slasher.
So it sounds like, Will, you have seen this film. Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Kat, you have not seen this film, right? So you don't know. I'm not going to steal Will's thunder. It's his show. But
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to steal the twist that is the most amazing part of it. So go
It's
ahead.
my
I know
next
you have-
sentence. You can say it. Go ahead.
There you go.
Go ahead. Go for it.
It's amazing, Kat. This is worth watching just because of the swerve. The entire 95% at least of the film is from the perspective of the killer.
Oh.
You follow him traipsing through the woods. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, haven't you ever wondered what does Jason do when he's not busy killing?
No.
Does he eat?
He's knitting.
Does he sleep?
Right.
I've never wondered that.
Does he have to use the toilet?
Oh no! Don't tell me that's in here too.
All these questions are answered.
And you're not going to tell me I have to watch
And
the
if I
movie.
do one thing to sell you on this film,
Yeah.
Kat or listener, anybody, Will already knows. In every horror movie, every slasher movie, when they kill the bad guy and he's laying out in the field dead, what's the first thing they do? They walk away and ignore him. And when they come back,
Yeah.
he's gone, right? So we have that scene in this movie. They kill the bad guy and they walk off, but the camera stays on his body.
Yeah.
And you see him get up and walk off. And then the kids come back and go, what the fuck? Where'd he go? You know, it's like, we were there. We saw it because the camera stays with the slasher. It's so cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, John. That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not sure that's going to sell me on it.
Yeah.
If anything would, it's that. If not that, then maybe nothing.
Well, and Marcus says here the movie sucked.
Oh.
So you get to listen to an overdubbed you get to listen to overdubbed footsteps on dry leaves for 90 minutes. For 90 minutes. Now, yeah,
Well,
so the killer
Not
walks
for
around
nothing.
a lot.
Hey, now, Marcus didn't care for Beetlejuice, so take for that what you
That's
will.
right. Get out of here, Marcus. Beat it.
Yeah. I don't know what his
Opinion's
taste in
nothing.
film is worth.
Hmm.
And it's true, but you know what? Much like some other films, and they're taking this guy took a shot. Now, I think there may have been some way.
He took a what?
He took a shot. He took a swing.
Oh, a shot.
I wasn't talking about the killer. The killer took something. He also took a shot. He took a lot of shots. So there may be some things I would have done a little differently because this guy made a decision. This Chris Nash, the director writer, he made a decision. And he really hung in there. So yeah, John, what Marcus is alluding to is you do see him walking around, stalking a lot because that's what he would be doing.
That's what he does. Yeah.
He commits to the bit.
He's traipsing along and nothing's happening. And then suddenly you hear voices in the distance. That's what he's moving toward is the kids around the campfire, where every other film we'd be with the kids. We need to walk with him as he finds the kids. Yeah. I think it's creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
Okay, considering I've never watched one of those movies except for like Halloween. Okay, I'm just not into watching those movies. Do I need to have seen one from the other?
Nope.
No?
You've seen one. You saw Halloween. You've seen one.
Right.
So that's it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the faceless killer that's unstoppable.
Okay.
Which again is a trope, but again certainly with the Friday the 13th, it has some connections to Friday the 13th because some of the origin, etc., or not unlike Jason Voorhees, and I don't want to spoil anything. But
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a cool idea. They commit to the bit, and so I think it's pretty cool. Brandon says In a Violent Nature was pretty good. It wasn't perfect, but it was a fresh approach. Yeah, and that's what I look for when I look for horror movies. Is, all right, who's doing something different these days? Because it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to just not make it. Well, let's make it more gory. It's like anybody can do that. And
this reminds me of. Oh, go ahead. Me that movie that's gonna come out. Did it come out yet? Where they film everything from the same corner of a room.
Right.
No, that's,
you're making me
not
think
a horror
of...
film, but coming out later.
No, not a horror film. But actually, but having a fresh approach in the perspective and filming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to say, not to say this film isn't gory. It's pretty fucked up. The kills are really messed up.
Oh, yeah. The yoga kill is one of the most creative I've seen.
What?
Yeah, I mean...
No!
And it's funny, right? Because, you can't spoil it, but saying...
No. All I can say is the yoga kill. That's all. I'm not going to say anything else about it.
We can say the
More
killer,
reasons to watch it.
We can say the killer was inspired by that. He found her doing yoga.
Hey.
And helped her
Yes.
achieve a certain
some pose, yeah.
position.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I do yoga. I don't know if I want to see this.
Well, careful where you do it.
Oh.
So while even the most casual horror fan can pick up on the elements that that Violent Nature borrows from Friday the 13th, you'd have to be a super fan to spot the indie movie's direct connection to the earlier franchise. Because in the third act of the film, we're introduced to an unnamed character who's played by Lauren Mary Taylor. Taylor played Vicky in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh.
And while she wasn't the sequel's final girl because she was dispatched with Jason, she did go on to appear in other horror films as well, including 1982's slasher movie Girls' Night Out, and in 2 documentaries about the Friday the 13th franchise. In fact, her role in A Violent Nature is her first in 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Okay.
Hey, check it out if you're interested in this kind of thing. It's a different take. Yeah, you watch it for the gimmick of it, and the gimmick is done well because they commit to it.
I'm more likely to watch this, I think, than Salem's Lot.
Okay.
Because of the gimmick.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, not having seen Salem's Lot, I think it's worth seeing just for the doing something different and for a reference. And plus, it's not terrible. I think, they said in the comments they didn't totally pull it off. there are some things like, oh, really? Is that how you're going to handle that? But still, I
Okay.
think there's a bravery in trying something that not everyone has done before and committing to it for 90% of the film probably.
Yeah. And Kat, this film, because you're not from not following the teenager's perspective, you're not going to be scared wondering, well, what's lurking out there, what's going to happen. You're on the
lurking.
side. You're with the guy.
I'm with the lurker.
You see him pick up an axe. You see him approach someone from behind. You know what he's going to do.
So there's
you
no
won't be
jump
surprised.
scares? No surprise. No jump scares?
No, I don't. Probably.
There might be one,
Okay.
and there's the threat of one that you're never sure if and when it's going to happen.
Oh, yes. And that is the,
Oh.
And that's kind of the whole point of the movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh.
Hey, check it
Okay.
out on Shudder, or you can purchase it or rent it on Apple, Amazon, all those other places. Too.
I will shudder at this.
All right, hey, another 1980s news. We're getting into the horror thing. You know what? Look, as it gets closer to Halloween, Cat, we're going to chat about more, spooky things.
I know it's fine. I'll be fine. Actually,
it's-
I have a few Halloween. Or not Halloween. I do have a few horror movies on my watch list that I'd like to watch during October.
Oh, what do you got? Can you tell us? Can you tease us with something?
Oh yeah, let's
Maybe we
see.
could watch along with you, or
Are they cartoons?
Ooh, actually, one of them is because I want to see the Ichabod Crane. That you were
Oh,
talking
Sleepy
Come
Hollow.
about.
on.
Yeah.
That
Last
it's a
night.
horror movie.
No,
Oh, it
kids'
is.
cartoon.
Believe you me, it is. So ask little Johnny.
When you're
He'll tell
10
you.
or 8, yeah, whatever. I get it. But give us a real one, Cat.
I can't
That's the
find them
historical
on my
significance
list.
of the 1980s
I'll-
today. It was from 80s. So
I'll
There you
update
go.
you in person. I can't see them.
All
right
right.
now.
Hey, another 1980s news, much lighter stuff, but still speaking about something scary because we're going to talk about Tom Cruise in the next 3 stories. So if Tom Cruise scares you, tune out for a few minutes and then check back.
He's not scary.
He's behind you.
yeah, he's unnerving.
It's true. Hey, as reported by People, Heather Locklear recalls Tom Cruise doing his risky business, John scared, dance moves on their date. So marking her first public event
Wow.
in nearly 3 years, Locklear made a rare appearance at 90s Con, Florida on Saturday,
Yay.
September 14th. Now, let's just pause and say, where's 80s Con? All right, look, we have RetroCon, right? We have RetroCon, which was great. We had a great time there. Hopefully we get to go
Yes.
back every year.
Yep.
But they skipped past 80s cons. I mean, they never had that as far as I know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Bunch of assholes.
Come on.
Anyway,
Well,
yeah.
they're not making new Gen Xers. I mean, we're diminishing commodities, so they need to pander to the 90s kids now with their puffy new kids on the block pants and whatever the kids in the 90s were back then.
They're hammer pants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, the Dynasty and T.J. Hooker alum opened up about meeting Cruise at an audition early on in their careers. She said, quote, "We both did an audition for a film together, the two of us, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible." Before she joked, saying, "He's even worse." Dang. So all that time, more continuing. So at that time, he was just like this little baby boy that I feel like I was a little bit older, and he ended up coming over to my house with Sean Penn. Now, that's scary.
Yeah.
And they were just nice, but he was very yes, ma'am to me, and I was like, okay, sir. A self-proclaimed rock and roll girl at the time, she said her style didn't match Cruise's. They did, however, go out on a date together. The pair went dancing at Club Lingerie. Locklear described Cruise's dance moves, revealing she was one of the first to see what ended up being his famous scene in Risky Business, during which he slides down on his knees. And whenever I hear that, I have to take off my pants and slide across the floor. So I'll be right back.
Yep.
Uh-oh, there he goes.
Here he comes. All right. He's off,
you have
he's
your-
off camera. Hey, I just slid past.
My mark.
Oh, thankfully he was sitting down on the slide. He was standing.
We could do it again, yeah.
It would be at,
So
be
Tom
at
Cruise is
Britch's
dancing in the
level.
club. Recalling Tom Cruise dancing before her and dropping down to his knees, Locklear says, quote, "He actually did that. And I was dancing along like, do I stop dancing if they're down there?" Yeah, that is kind of like, what do you do? Someone
Awkward.
drops to their knees.
I just keep on dancing. I see her on the floor there. All right.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to get a
probably,
drink. Do you want anything?
I'll be down here on my knees.
I'd go find somebody who's on their feet.
I don't know.
Somebody's got to help him up.
That sounds ableist, Cat.
Yeah.
He was fine when he was on his feet. Ugh, gross.
First horror movies, and now this cat.
Yes.
I am
Regarding the
speechless.
scene in Risky Business, Cruise told people in 2023 that he had to figure out how to slide across the floor in his socks. He said, quote, "So I saw the opening frame and I go, I want to hit center frame, and it didn't work. And then I said, well, let's just put slick stuff on the floor. And then I slid all the way across." Eventually, a sticky spray in the center of the frame did the trick.
Ah, was this his first stunt? Was this the first instance?
His first stunt.
Yes. It could be, yeah.
Like he had a stand in or slide in who would
Yeah.
perform this for him.
But
get
he
hurt,
does all,
right?
right? He does all. So I wonder, is this,
Yeah, he started somewhere. You're right,
there's a
Kat.
little bit of peril involved in sliding across the floor. Yeah.
On the scale of dangerous stunts,
Yeah.
I think sliding in on your socks is way, way, way down the list.
Okay. There's
Not
that,
according to
and
all
then-
our moms.
So you got that on one side, and you got scaling. What's that? In Dubai, the largest building in the world.
Yeah, you're right. And
Right.
jumping out of planes and crap,
Yes.
all that stupid. That's on the other end, but yeah. There probably was no special rider to protect him for sliding in on his socks.
Although if someone hated him, they'd be like, "All right, we're gonna grease up his socks too.
Yeah.
Kill this motherfucker. Hate this little asshole. He's too handsome."
Right? What's this on the
with my-
budget? 1 gallon of
dancing with my
industrial
lady at the
sock
club.
lube?
What? Side boob? What did you say?
I said it all.
What did you say? I heard side
What's
boob.
this on the budget? 1 gallon of industrial sock lube?
Sock lube. Where is this going?
Well, we're trying to make the stunt dangerous for you, Kat.
John,
You're the one that said it was a stunt.
in 1982, if they needed sock lube, they could have just asked me. We made it fresh daily. All right, look. All right, back to the show. Here we go. All right.
How do I know what he's talking about and you
Speaking
don't?
of,
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, first time listener.
yeah, there you go. Yes. More things just like this every week. All right. Hey, speaking of Tom Cruise and Risky Business, you can learn more about the heartthrob turned stuntman in the nacelle company's Icons Unearthed Tom Cruise, which premiered earlier this month. It's available on Vice TV, and it's the cast, crew, and experts revealed never before heard stories about Cruise. The series begins with Risky Business, and then tracks how he's evolved to become the person, the performer that he is today, and includes how the film's ending was changed, something Cruise himself found pivotal to the film's success. Now, I never knew this story till this.
I still don't. I'm
Yeah. So
waiting
the
for you to
in the
tell me.
originals, are you familiar with the film? Did you guys see Risky Business? Do you remember that?
Long time ago.
Yeah,
Like once.
yeah. It's probably the same. Yeah, maybe once or twice. Yeah.
So I guess, long story short, you'll remember. I mean, the ending is harrowing, right? His parents are away. He wants to go to Princeton. His parents are away. He's a very uptight, straight-laced, buttoned-up type kid. And he gets involved with a prostitute who has a pimp, who they steal everything from his house,
Oh,
including
I don't remember
the
that.
Fabergé egg or whatever it is
That was the big thing.
that his parents, his mother, has on the mantle. They're so precious.
Oh,
Did she specifically call out, check it before she left? That was the main thing. Yeah.
And the last few minutes are him negotiating with the pimp, him paying to get his money. He gets money to get his furniture back. He has them bring it. Him and his friends are putting it back in the house. Everything. They get the egg. They put the egg back, and he notices there's a little crack in the egg, or maybe he doesn't notice right away. And then his parents come in, literally as the truck is pulling away or whatever, and everything seems like everything was fine. I think his father might notice the crack, I never noticed there was a little crack on the egg before, something like that. But it's fine. It winds up being fine, Well, in the original script, which was penned by the director, Paul Berkman, Joel doesn't get the girl, he doesn't go to Princeton, and he breaks his mom's precious crystal egg.
Oh,
What a tragedy. Wow.
Yikes.
He ends with a bittersweet scene of Joel trying to comfort Lana about her future, which he knows will be very different than his own. But test audiences hated this, and they let
it
the
got
studio
shot?
know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was it.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Wow.
This was headed to theaters until they tested it.
Wow.
And they let the studio know this is just terrible. And so the studio was at a point where they're like, either we don't ever show this movie to anybody, or we got to do something about the ending. And it was produced by David Geffen, who at the time, this was his first film, launching his Geffen Pictures, which you've seen that logo many times since.
Yeah.
Geffen wanted Joel to have it all. He wanted to win at the end. He wanted him to get into Princeton, have a future with Lana that was happily ambiguous, and leave his parents none the wiser about his adventures, save for the tiny crack in the egg. Well, finally, after this test audience, and after Geffen was much pressure from Geffen in the studio, Brickman relented to the point that he shot an alternate ending with the agreement that they test both versions again. And when they did that, it turns out that the ending with the more uplifting ending tested several points higher than the original ending, and that ending was shelved. Brickman felt the whole film was compromised by this, quote, cheesy happy ending, end quote, and considered leaving the film altogether.
Oh, wow.
It's weird. It's almost, for me, doesn't have anything to do with a happy ending versus a sad ending, but it's kind of a caper movie. It's kind of a, not a heist, but it's that thing like, well, can you pull it off? And I think you want to see in a caper movie, them pull it off. Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, why make a movie about it? There's nothing remarkable about you do crazy stuff and get caught and get in trouble. That's not a story. That's just life. You want to see somebody get away with this amazing thing that they did. And I'm not surprised that it didn't test well.
Right.
Yep.
It seems to me like people, like you said, it's like a caper. It sounds like the second ending, it buttons things up, right? Broop, except for the crack, right? That's the last little suggestion that anything happened.
Yeah, like to John's point, it's escapism. We go along this journey. We don't want him to get caught. We're rooting for the guy the whole time.
Yes.
So yes, in some kind of films, yes, you do go the one way and we learn a lesson or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times you don't. Yes. And the 1980s were filled with, escape films. I mean, we all wanted to get the hell out of that decade in one regard. In another regard, we loved a lot of things about it. Okay,
I just realized this is reminding me of something we grew up on, The Cat in the Hat, right? So The Cat in the Hat came in.
Very
and
similar.
He made a huge mess. And then, oh my gosh, it was stressful and it all
last
got
possible
wrapped
second.
up.
Yep.
And nobody knew. And he had all kinds of ways to clean it up. That's what was nagging me while you were telling me about that. Yeah, about the rush at the end.
Yeah,
plagiarism on behalf of Risky Business.
Yeah, they plagiarized The Cat in the Hat.
And this movie, The Cat in the Hat, was Joey Pants or Bronson Pinchot? I don't know. You'd have to watch it again.
Right. You know how the little kid in Cat in the Hat gets hooked up with a prostitute?
Yes, right.
It's a rainy day. What are you going to do?
Thing one and thing two get involved and make it worse.
Those scenes with Rebecca De Mornay. Oh, my goodness. On the
I
train?
think those are rotoscoped. Amazing.
Oh, my.
Cat in the Hat?
Yes.
Yes, right. Karen refers to it as Chekhov's Fabergé egg. Yeah, you're right, Karen. Something was going to happen. She also said she remembers when Alf did the slide. I kind of remember that too. That's in there somewhere.
Is that what Will looks like when he does the slide? Right?
Oh, maybe.
Like Alf?
That's what reminded her, yeah. And Brandon agrees the scariest part of all of it is being around, or just talking about the date with Heather Locklear. Tom Cruise and Sean Penn at the same time would be. At the same time. By the end of the production, the blood, there was so much bad blood between Geffen and Brickman that there was no premiere for Risky Business, not even a cast and crew screening. And Brickman wanted a copy of it with his original ending just for himself, and they wouldn't give it to him.
No.
Oh my God.
Don't let that thing out in the wild. Nope.
Yeah, there was apparently some pressure or talk about having it come out for like the 20th anniversary and then the 25th anniversary. And the studio said, nope, no one will ever see it.
Oh, wow.
And finally, speaking about Tom Cruise in the Tom Cruise 1980s Tom Cruise news segment.
Tom Cruise news.
In later episodes of the documentary that I referred to earlier, Icons Unearthed, Tom Cruise examines how he, evolved into a global action star. And look, while now, like Kat alluded to, a hallmark of his career is performing his own stunts, a gag in 1980's Top Gun nearly ended his career. End his life. So it would have ended his life. That would have ended the
Both?
career.
Right.
The life
And
would have been
coincidentally, career as well.
first. Yeah. But he survived, so the career was good. So I should have said life. Ended his life, yes. While the blockbuster Top Gun can be dismissed as a homoerotic airplane porn, with a catchy electronic soundtrack, it did serve one serious purpose.
Wait. Homoerotic airplane porn.
Yeah.
That all checks out. Okay, carry on.
You-
I just want to run the numbers.
I mean,
Okay, yeah.
it's just one long pornographic music video, right? Or a series of pornographic music videos.
Mhm.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that. I love the movie. But it also highlights the risk taken by Navy fighter pilots, which is illustrated when the much beloved Mercutio character, Goose, played by pre-ER Anthony Edwards, dies during an aborted mission. Gosh, that was one of those early characters that you really liked in a movie dying, and you're like, as a young person, like, oh, this is heart-wrenching. You're not used to seeing characters you like in Hollywood films die. Again, escapism.
Right.
Is this what movies are now?
Right. Does this mean that parents are going to fight about the egg? Whatever. But in fact, that's the. Blah, 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 blah. Let's skip ahead. Do I want to say this?
Shudder.
But I'll say this already. Okay. But while real life fighter pilots face death daily, the filming of this particular scene showed how movie making carries hazards of its own. Not only was a veteran pilot killed shooting aerial footage for the scene, but it almost cost Cruise his life as well.
Oh
So
my.
I don't have the name of the pilot. I should have that, but I don't. But so he goes into this flat spin because he's taking risks all the time and all this nonsense. So a veteran pilot, shot what was intended to be the view of Maverick and Goose as they looked down at the water, spinning, swirling around. So he did a flat spin to film that,
Okay.
and he lost control of his jet and died. That
Yikes.
veteran pilot. But as we know, the plane, the pilots end up in the water, and in the hotshot pilot Maverick, swims over to Goose. They both ejected right in there in their parachutes, bring their chairs down, and they land in the water. Maverick goes and cradles Goose's body, who's he died at some point during this terrible tragedy in the film, while waiting for rescue. But while they were shooting the scene, Cruise didn't know that his parachute began filling up with water.
Oh.
And
Oops.
according to Tom Cruise's parachute. So
No, I said oops.
oh, oops. I think you said
Yeah.
Cruise.
No,
According
no,
to Barry Tubb, who played Wolfman in the film, quote, they were refilling the camera or something, and luckily one of the frogmen in the chopper saw his chute ballooning out. He jumped in and cut Cruise loose right before he sank.
Wow.
They would never have found him. He would have been at the bottom of the ocean.
Because it would have kept going down. Yeah,
Yeah,
it would have
just-
kept pulling you straight down.
That water, yeah, exactly.
Man.
And I think it is in the documentary to describe how with the ropes you start getting just tangled up and wrapped in the ropes as it's pulling.
As
you
you
down. So-
panic. The name of the
hopeless.
pilot is Art Scholl.
Oh, thanks, Kat. Yeah,
No
that's-
problem.
Yeah, it's terrible, but
Yeah. Yikes.
oh, that's why this.
On that
is so-
uplifting note,
Yeah,
Let's see. We started with horror.
yeah, and there's a real horror, so everything's going to be spooky. Yeah.
And that's yeah.
so in the next Top Gun sequel, we get to see that,
Yeah.
but from the perspective of the parachute filling with water.
Oh
And you
no.
look up and you can see his
Everything
feet
is
dangling.
reversed.
He's holding Goose. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
just a whole different perspective.
Oh.
Or is it? So are you the parachute? Are we watching
Yes,
the parachute?
yeah.
It was like, dang
Yeah,
it!
yeah.
I tried to claim that.
Almost got him. That's right.
Almost got him.
So to Marcus's
Next
point,
time.
it'll be like 89 minutes of us just being underwater.
Right. Right.
Bloop, bloop.
So I guess we're
Until
underwater.
there's Tom. Here's my chance.
it's the last few minutes of the film.
Start filling with water, quick.
Actually, most of the movie we won't see anything. 'Cause we'll be packed up in a pack, right?
We'll be packed up in the
packed
parachute.
Oh,
We're
with the
very
parachute, right? Not the water,
claustrophobic.
right.
90%
just
of the
blackness,
movie,
it's just dark.
nothing.
Right. Right. It's 80 minutes of that, and then blue sky, and then underwater.
You know,
That's ridiculous.
You remind me, one of the good things about that in a violent nature film is there's no score. There's no music.
No? Oh, wow.
So it relies heavily on, the sound, etc. Because even in the opening, I thought at the very opening, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Because they just show an image and you just hear voices. And then you hear the, ultimately the villain that's like emerging, let's say. You just hear it like, oh, I think that's the sound of the bad guy, I guess.
Yeah,
Eventually
yeah.
they show it, but it relies so heavily on just sound, like Marcus was saying.
Crunching
Otherwise there's no
leaves.
score. So yeah, in a parachute thing, it would just be.
Yeah.
You can't even
Muffled.
understand what the pilots are saying.
Right. You can faintly hear Danger Zone in the background. Like, that sounds like a good song.
Yeah.
Well, for the need for speed. What do you say? This is a great podcast.
And finally, yes, trust us. Once we get the rehearsal out of the way, for folks who stick around, you'll see the real show.
There are no other shows where you'll hear about Film Shop from the perspective of a bundled up parachute. There are no others. You only get it here.
Honey,
For good reason.
Honey, I know it's been 45 minutes, but hang on. The chute's about to open. Look, watch.
Good part's coming.
Okay, I was wrong. All right.
No, another 20 minutes. All right.
Finally, boom.
Free almond water. Crap.
All right, hey.
Oh, we'll get you, Tom Cruise.
A watery fist. Shaking.
We broke Cat.
All
All right.
We'll be right. We'll be right back right after this. All right, hey, this is not.
Cat's
we're
doing
done,
her own stunts over there.
we're done with the horror movies. We're done with Tom Cruise. We got a final story to chat about in 1980s news. As reported by the Rolling Stone, Jane's Addiction reunion tour has been canceled. Yeah, Brandon says you broke Cat. Y'all broke Cat.
Yes, they did, Brandon. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Overdue.
So formed in 1985, the alternative rock band Jane's Addiction, I'm just going to continue on, consists of...
Don't stop. Keep going.
I can't. We got to get out of here.
Okay.
Jane's Addiction consists of the singer Perry... All right, I'm just going to press on.
Just go.
I'll mute Cat. Let's see if we can just mute
I'll
her.
catch up.
There we go. I muted her. So it consists of, Formed in 1985, the alternative rock band Jane's Addiction consists of singer Perry Farrell, guitarist Dave Navarro, drummer Stephen Perkins, and bassist Eric Avery. And after their first studio album, 1988's Nothing Shocking, which was deemed a flop, but after that, the band found success with their second studio album, 1990's Ritual de lo Habitual, or Ritual de lo Habitual.
Oh.
Which that album was certified double platinum and gave us the hit Been Caught Stealing. Bet you heard of that one, didn't you? Well, guess what? It was really exciting. They've broken up and come back together some different times over the last several decades, but they hadn't played together since 2010 and began their reunion tour on August 9th. Well, just 5 weeks later, the reunited band is not feeling so good because the band's concert on September 14th in Boston was halted when frontman Perry assaulted guitarist Dave Navarro. Perry Farrell. When frontman Farrell assaulted guitarist Navarro. And I had hoped to show the video. I had seen a video that was like the leading up to it. It was a couple minutes long, but now that this has become a big story, it's more clips and truncated versions of it that are filling up the search.
Mm-hmm. But it is it's a lot of chest bumping and posturing. It wasn't like a throwdown fist fight. It was certainly disrespectful and disruptive, but it isn't like you want a fight. There's a fight. Well,
right. Yes. And the lead up to it that you see in a longer video is, and we find out that this is related to the agitation that Farrell was going through. But you hear the band rocking along. The band sounds fantastic. We can hardly hear Perry, I'll say Perry singing, but he's talking and singing. And at some point, he just starts looking at band members and saying, fuck you. And he looks at, Eric, fuck you. And he looks at the drummer, fuck you. And he looks at Navarro, and fuck you too.
Wow.
And he's just stomping around with the microphone. And finally, he keeps staring at Dave Navarro and finally just goes over to him and kind of just rams his shoulder into him at first.
Yeah.
And Dave Navarro's like, what the? He keeps playing the whole time. What the hell are you doing? He keeps playing. And Farrell keeps yelling at him. and then ultimately he swings a right hook at
Wow.
connects with his shoulder. Right, it wasn't an accident, and immediately crew members just descend upon Perry.
I need to
And
ask.
what is the number one rule of show business?
Yeah, go on with
The
the
show must go on.
Yeah,
The show
Yeah.
must go on. Yeah.
You don't interrupt the show for if you've got a beef, you can handle it. Not in the show. Not in the show. It's you don't do it.
And also, he punched his shoulder.
I
Does
think he
have
was swinging and hit his shoulder
bad
accidentally.
aim?
Have
What-
you ever
what
gotten a
is
look
that?
at Perry Farrell? He's not beating anybody up.
Oh, I've never.
A
really
strong
looked.
breeze will defeat him in a fight. I mean, the guy's got to be like 120, soaking wet. I mean,
Oh,
and
boy.
he's like, he's been battling with addiction for decades, you know, and he still has.
Perhaps it was James.
Perhaps. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually may have started there because their name, the name of the band, they actually did name on his roommate he had back in the 1980s when they started the band.
Huh.
Anyway, so the crew descends upon Farrell and they drag him off stage. Navarro goes off stage, he goes to the side, takes his guitar off, and he's like, "Oh, where the fuck did he go? Where did he go now? Fight me, skinny little prick."
Will's paraphrasing.
Yeah, something.
Possibly.
I guess the good news for folks attending that concert was they had gotten through 11 songs at the time, and they usually do around 14 or so. So the concert wasn't too far from ending. But after that, that was it. The show was over. Following the incident, Farrell's wife, Eddie Lau, released a statement on Instagram writing, quote, "Perry felt the stage volume had been extremely loud and his voice was being drowned out by the band," which it kind of was. But it's not the band's
That's
fault.
not the band's fault.
that's-
exactly.
That's not
Why are you mad at the
right.
band? Unless like they set it up. Do they tell the audio guy, keep his mic really low?
Yeah. I know you're screwing with me again.
He's really paranoid.
He stomps off the stage back to the mixer. The guy at the mixer. Fuck you, too.
You put this at Unity or I will end you.
And she also adds, Perry had been suffering from tinnitus, as most people say, even though it's tinnitus, according to my doctor, and a sore throat every night. But when the audience in the first row started complaining up to Perry, cussing at him that the band was playing too loud and they couldn't hear him, Perry lost it.
So he lost it on his band because of a lousy sound issue.
And we've seen other more professional, at least behaving singers during these times. I need more sound in my monitor. They say it like right loud stage. Can you guys turn me up? Can you, hey, they deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he's got some stuff going on.
Oh, yes.
Perry Farrell.
Yes.
Look, I always know Perry Farrell for a long time. Then this guy Farrell comes along who produces all these songs. And now when I see this name, it's Perry Farrell.
Right, Farrell Williams. Yeah.
Farrell's wife also revealed that while he was being restrained backstage, bassist Eric Avery, quote, put Perry in a headlock and punched him in the stomach 3 times.
Good.
Oh, my.
So, and
You
then,
wrecked the show, dude.
And then, according to her, Avery then turned around and was really kind of casual and got on the audience and was like, "I'm sorry that the show had to end early, everybody." So, like, he did an about face. It was a different character after putting a beat down on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously,
Knucklehead.
look, but it turns out it seems based on some comments from Farrell and a statement from the band that's since come out, he's been dealing with stuff for a while, and they've all felt unsafe and sort of tortured by this guy because of his nonsense for a while. So you could see why Eric would want to take some shots at him. Navarro was like, "Oh, good, you started it."
Yeah. And when you're in a band like that, that's like a marriage.
Yeah.
And so you're going to bend over backward to try to accommodate someone that's having problems. And then sometimes it's just the wave breaks and then you got to face it and deal with it, which is unfortunately what happened in the live show rather than behind stage.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're having problems in a marriage, you do have to bend over backwards. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
To fix it.
Speaking of sock lube,
Yeah.
Oh,
no, you don't need sock lube anymore. That's when you're in the 80s. All right.
don't hurt.
No.
Farrell has now issued an apology to Navarro fans and family for the altercation, writing, quote, "Unfortunately, my breaking point resulted in inexcusable behavior, and I take full accountability for how I chose to handle the situation." I should say Farrell's publicist came out with an
Yeah,
apology.
it's a little late for that, but okay, nice try.
Well,
I'd
yeah.
have been pissed if I were in the audience. I'm not a fan of, I even struggled to think of one of their songs. This is not about Jane's Addiction, but if I were at a concert and I, wanted a full show, I'd have been pissed.
Oh, hell, that audience got the good ending.
Yeah.
All the other shows were just, music, encore. They got to see a fight.
Point.
That's great.
Fight. Yeah, I would think of Jane's Addiction. The audience would be like, yes, fight.
Good point.
Do it at the next stop. Yeah. Speaking of apology coming too late, it came a couple of hours after Jane's Addiction announced the cancellation of the rest of the tour.
Oh.
The band's official note was accompanied by a separate statement from Navarro, drummer Stephen Perkins and bassist Eric Aberby, who said the tour was canceled due to a, quote, continuing pattern of behavior and the mental health difficulties of our singer Perry Farrell. We hope Perry Farrell. We hope that he will find. I feel like you're just saying the opposite just to get me confused.
You think?
We hope that he will find the help he needs. The incident sparked more than a few reactions from various folks around the internet, including famous band members known for feuds of their own.
Oh.
Liam Gallagher, the lead singer of Oasis, who's known for a long-running feud with his brother Noel, and I think they've come to fisticuffs even before.
Oh no!
In fact, they're just launching a reunion tour, right? They just announced they're getting back together. Anyway, even Liam reacted to the onstage incident, posting on Twitter, "quote Their attitude stinks."
Oh.
I didn't hear Sammy and Dave chime in though.
Right.
Oh.
Well, speaking of that, John,
because they keep it off stage, don't they? They keep it off the stage.
That's sort
Mostly,
of, I guess.
for the most part.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Because speaking of behaving professionally, I've got 3 bands for you that are associated with the 1980s or otherwise connected with the 1980s that also had disappointingly short reunions, including Van Halen and Sammy Hagar. So, believe it or not, it was the tension surrounding the Twister soundtrack that caused Sammy Hagar to leave Van Halen in 1995. Now, when I say leave Van Halen, he may not have left so much as he was told he left. Because
he
the
was
group had
voluntold to leave. Yeah.
You have left.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, according to Hagar. The group had just finished a long world tour, and Hagar was very exhausted and angry when they worked on a song for Twister. They couldn't agree on the lyrics, and bitterness grew and grew. In 2022, Hagar told Rolling Stone that Eddie didn't fire Hagar. Instead, he told the Red Rocker that Hagar had quit the band.
Oh. Okay.
Eddie phoned Sammy on Father's Day 1995 and said, you always wanted to be a solo artist, so go ahead and be one.
There you go.
Go.
We're going to get Dave back in the band, end quote.
Oh.
Let's do the Twister like we did last summer. Just couldn't agree. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this before, not too long ago, but that rumored reunion with Dave ended abruptly with that. Talking about keeping it professional, but it ended with his crazy antics on screen during the 1996 MTV Video Music Awards.
Right.
Acting up. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
And I say rumored because it's by all accounts, it seems like it was a publicity stunt on behalf of Van Halen or their people, because they were already talking to Gary Cherone about becoming their new lead singer. But when their lone album with Cherone was a disappointment, commercially speaking, they invited Hagar back to tour with them in 2004.
Huh.
Now that's the reunion we're talking about, because in just 5 months later, the band managed somehow to play 80 songs or play 80 shows between June and November of that year. But the Van Halen brothers rarely spoke with Hagar and bassist Michael Anthony.
Huh. Wow.
Getting the old cold shoulder from the bandmates. That's not the kind of band marriage you want.
No, that seems like a very
unsustainable
experience. Yes.
Now, to your earlier point, John, it wasn't on stage. On stage, you heard this amazing band that was cohesive and working together. Off stage, they just ignored each other, and not Sammy
professionals.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Huh. Kept it separate.
Not like Pharrell.
Yes. But when the tour finally wrapped, they went their separate ways and never spoke in person again. It was only at the end of Eddie's life that he did reestablish contact with Hagar via a series of telephone calls where they finally patched things up.
Oh,
Oh,
all right.
too little, too late, but I get the sentiment.
Yeah. Here's another one for you. Jefferson Airplane. Now, I didn't know this. All I recall from the 1980s was, now look, I knew who Jefferson Airplane was because they had some songs that were hits in earlier decades, and I was a fan. It's only in the 1980s that we got Jefferson Starship, and then ultimately we got Starship, and I was
Starship.
like, my understanding
We
was
built this city.
the folks from the band just kept sort of reinventing themselves as time went on, you know, and their music changed as well. That's not what happened.
Really? That was my assumption too.
Yeah, and how they, you know, it's kind of a more complicated story, but to cut to the end, Starship, featuring Grace Slick on lead vocals, scored giant 80s, according to the Rolling Stones, they say, quote, craptacular songs.
Oh,
Like We Built the City and Sarah.
I have that 45 of Sarah.
Yeah. They had never been more popular as a commercial force, but Slick hated the music, and so she quit in 1988, leaving Starship without a single member from Jefferson Airplane's classic era.
Wow.
So it was, in fact, that the band was dwindling down and changing people, and that's why the names were changing, except for Slick, who was still there, and then finally she left. And when she quit, she quit so she could get back to her roots with Jefferson Airplane, which then Jefferson Airplane cut an album in 1989, self-titled, which received uniformly negative reviews.
Oops.
But the band still hit the oldies circuit. The set didn't. Again, this is now the Jefferson Airplane. The set that they would perform on tour didn't include any Starship numbers. So if you showed up to hear "We Built This City," you were shit out of luck. No. This band didn't build jack. The other band.
They didn't even build a village.
No. And this one, so this reunion, or of Starship or of Airplane, I suppose, lasted 2 months because after Slick completed her obligations to the reunion tour, she reassessed her life. The thought of singing "White Rabbit" and "Somebody to Love" over and over as she grew older didn't appeal to her. In fact, in 1988,
what does she
told-
like?
this
She
can't be
doesn't
right.
like the new stuff. She doesn't like the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is
I
the
think
wrong
Pretty
year.
picky to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the wrong year. I'll just skip the year. In fact, she once told VH1's Behind the Music that, quote, all rock and rollers over the age of 50 look stupid and should retire, end quote.
What?
Oh,
Oh, no. Oh.
yeah. Take that, Duran Duran.
Right in the reflex.
Yeah.
And while
Say
there
reflux. It's a reflux.
Yes. Oh,
Let's go with
gosh.
reflex.
They could definitely do a crossover, right? Use that song for some medicine, geriatric
With some
medicine.
antacid. Yeah.
Where's Weird
Yeah.
Al? We need Weird Al
Yeah.
lyrics.
Forget about tums, 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 tums. Reflux.
Yes.
Flop, 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 flux.
I wish I could do a Simon Le Bon impersonation. I'd do it. And while there are competing groups billing themselves as Starship and Jefferson Starship, there's no Jefferson Airplane because that name ended when Slick left the group in 1989.
Ah.
It was done.
Yeah.
She didn't like the songs anyhow.
She doesn't like anything.
Before I get too far here, Karen says the video for Ben Caught Stealing is hilarious. Yeah, sure. Seems like Perry was acting a lot like old school Axl Rose. Brandon says, "Yep, right."
Ah, yeah.
Oh, and Starship did the mannequin theme. Yeah. What is that one? It's
Nothing's
gonna
gonna
stop us
stop us now.
There you go, thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally,
That's like when you talk to your digital assistant. Okay, what's this song? Da 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 da, and it can do it. You can sing it, and it's
that
crazy.
is crazy.
We
I
just were
love
your
that.
digital assistants. This
We
time.
were, yes.
Oh, thank you guys. See, I don't need AI. I hate AI, but I like you guys.
Meet more. You are
Finally,
welcome,
here's another
Will.
band from the 1980s that had a brief reunion. Journey.
Oh.
They split up in 1987 because
87.
lead singer Steve Perry wanted to take an indefinite break from the music industry. Perry told the Rolling Stone in 2018, quote, I bought a Harley Davidson and rode it around the country roads of my youth. I went to movies. I had dinner with friends, end quote.
Oh.
But Perry
Because I was filthy rich.
Yes, actually, that is part of it. I don't know if the motivations for the rest of the band were to get back together, as maybe often the case, because I could use another boat, or I need to pay a mortgage because not everybody saves their money.
Right.
But Perry did. In fact, he pointed that out as well, saying that he saved his money. So there was no reason for him to continue, from a financial standpoint. But in 1996, he got the itch to return. And the Escape era lineup reformed to cut Trial by Fire. And it generated the hit When You Love a Woman, which was nominated for a Grammy. So Journey's new manager put together a massive, or he was certainly busy putting together a massive reunion tour just 2 years after he masterminded the Hell Freezes Over tour for the Eagles. But just about a year later, the band dissolved again without having played a single show together.
Oh.
So did they really get back together then?
Well, they cut the record.
They made a record.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
had a
All
hit
right.
song. The holdup was a degenerative bone condition that Perry had that required hip surgery.
Oh.
And while you could feel bad about that for him, certainly have wished him well. I'm sure he's fine now. He didn't want to schedule the surgery, kept putting it off. And the band was trying
Knucklehead.
to, saying, hey, trying to commit him to something so they could plan the performances.
Right.
And he said he felt like this isn't something, planning a surgery or an operation is not something done by committee. So back off.
Oh.
Well, to motivate Perry, the band told him they were auditioning new singers.
Oh.
Ooh. Ouch.
But-
That stings.
And despite Perry's pleas, the band carried on with replacement vocalist Steve Augeri, or as I call him, Steve Augeri. And later his replacement Arnel Pineda. They carried on with Steve Augeri, and then later his replacement Arnel Pineda. Perry never sang with Journey again.
Wow.
And I've heard stories that he's kind of an asshole.
Really?
Allegedly.
I don't know.
All right, there you go. You got your horror. You got your Tom Cruise. You got your...
Shudder.
He got scared by Tom Cruise, not the horror.
Yes, I'm scared of Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
We established that earlier.
Talked about some bands that broke up. And so altogether, that's the show.
Don't forget the
parachutes.
parachute. Do not
Yeah,
forget the parachute.
Yeah, right. We're pitching a movie. A new film.
I shouldn't talk about the parachute because I'm going to lose it again. I'll just let you know that this show was brought to you thanks in part to our early adopters, Rick Parker and Karen Flieger.
Yeah.
And thank you especially to our Secret of Our Success Level Patreon supporters, Nick Guillory, Matt Marino,
Yeah.
John Henderson, who popped in here briefly, Brandon Greer, Steve McLeod, Marcus Taylor, and Tony Gray. Wow. I love this new little ding,
It's like,
Yeah.
ding.
it's like a cash register. Is that what that is? Is that then all their donations coming in each month?
Yes, exactly right. And look, I probably should say this more often, but a very special thanks to Marcus for his contributions to the show as well, because he does send me news stories and did contribute his voice to that silly thing that I did at the beginning of the show.
Oh.
Acting was chef's kiss. And also special thanks to Tony Greed again, who flew us out to RetroCon. Can't thank that guy enough.
Thank you, Tony.
And
What a guy.
We need to welcome a new supporter to the show. Please say hello to Matthew Blocker. He's not here. Please welcome Matthew Blocker. Matthew.
The camera, the spotlight goes on the curtain, waiting for it to
yeah,
open.
that would be cool
Come on
if he
in,
did that.
Matthew. Come on in.
Or if he didn't know, he's like, what the fuck? How are you doing this?
J'accuse.
I want my money back. Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Matthew, for Matthew. Maybe he prefers Matt. I did reach out to him to find out. Thank you so much for your contribution, for joining this fantastic group. Seriously, you couldn't be a part of a better group of folks as far as how much they contribute, not only monetarily, but every week joining us on these lives and otherwise sending us ideas and comments and suggestions and just emotional support. Seriously, I feel their good vibes. And thank you so much to everybody.
Thank you,
including
Matthew.
Matt. All right. Hey, that's it. Right. All right. Look, Halloween's coming. I'm looking forward to talking about more creepy stuff. Cat, be warned.
Yep.
Oh, I'm
When
warned.
we talk to you next time on 1980s Now.
Until next time.
I'll get you a Tom Cruise.
And your little co-pilot too.
That's the thing that killed me. That's what broke me. That
All
was
right, the parachute
it. Was
actually calling after him.
well, all of it, and then oh man.
Maybe we should.
Maybe
I saw
we
this
should-
news story, but I was like, we talked about this already. I don't think there's anything more to say. The
What?
only thing we know about the Matchbox movie is it's moving forward, and John
Yeah.
Cena is going to star in it. The only
Oh,
thought I had about it is maybe they're casting him so regular cars seem small. Because we still don't know what the movie's going to be about, other than it's going to be in some part based on or inspired by the true story of the man who invented Matchbox cars.
oh, okay.
Mm.
Because according to the story, when his daughter was in school, she was told she could only bring a toy to class if it could fit, or everybody. All the students only could bring a toy to class if it fit inside of a matchbox.
Oh, wow.
So this guy made a car that fit inside a matchbox. And when her friends got a look at this thing, they all wanted one, right? I mean, that would be cool.
Crazy. Yeah.
Thus, this industry was born for this gentleman, this inventor, this creator.
Wow.
Everybody else bringing crickets.
Yes. The teacher loved that. Oh, there's all over the place.
Yeah.
Crickets everywhere.
Squeak, 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 squeak. I love the micro
Yeah.
machines when those
They were
came
even
out.
smaller, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were
even
like
smaller.
deformed. Right? They were like squished, like lengthwise
the
as well.
proportions,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
squished.
They look like a smart car, literally.
Yeah. That's true.
Yep.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys. Thanks
Thank
everybody
you,
for joining us live. We'll see you later. See you next
Did
time.
it again. Bye bye.